Mandatory Christmas song. 1, 2, 3. And a happy new year. Alright, what is up guys? My name is Jerome and welcome to Fishcracker Faith. Now guys, Christmas is just around the corner. And I won't be talking about Christmas. Anyway, today, let's talk about problems. There's this famous phrase in Tagalog, pasan ko ang daigdig. Immortalized forever in the film, pasan ko ang daigdig. It roughly translates to carrying the weight of the world. Have you ever felt like carrying the weight of the world? I don't think a lot of us will agree with anyone who says that they're carrying the weight of the world. World leaders are probably an exception, so unless your friend is the president or a CEO, you're probably thinking they're delusional or some other friendly synonym for it. But for anyone carrying the weight of the world, that delusion is a sinking feeling. You've probably had that feeling na yung burden mo is slowly tearing your world apart. Some people actually move to a higher degree, thinking that they have the answer and that they're the only ones who can solve the problem of the world. The problem of being humanity's only answer weighs down on these people. Whichever the case, whether real or perceived, yung feeling na yun lumalabas sa buhay nila. Anxiety, fear, anger, pain, sleepless nights, stressful days, sorrow. Those delusions might be fake, but those feelings are real. Kung tutusin, when you say that you're carrying the weight of the world, you're probably right. It's just not the world, it's your world. The problems that weigh upon your shoulders are inside your world. And they may involve the problems of the world, but you're weighing them in your world. And when you compare the world to your world, the latter is demonstrably smaller. You don't even experience all of the world. Pero yung mga problema sa mundo, hindi siya nagsiscale down sa mundo mo. It's the same weight. Pero dahil yung mundo mo is smaller than yung mundo, mas mabigat siya sa mundo mo. Add mo pa yung problema mo sa sarili mong mundo, nako, the weight on your shoulders probably feels more than you can bear. So when Jesus says in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest," that's probably a comfort for many people. Imagine not having to worry about the weight of your world because Jesus says you can throw all of that weight on Him. Wala ka nang papasanin. But the funny thing is, people don't let go of the weight. So many people have heard this Bible verse that it's become a meme at this point. Gasgas na yung Bible verse. Marami ng kanta na buo, marami ng Facebook post sa stickers na nagawa, marami ng sermon na nasabi, including this one. But even if people talk about the need to let go of their problems, they don't. Instead, they keep that weight weighing upon their shoulders. And if it's the weight of their world, nako, it's going to overwhelm them. So why? The theory go. When you carry something, you take responsibility for it. And that responsibility gives you a semblance of control. When you think about it, life can be so chaotic that a small semblance of control is a godsend. Kaya lang, that kind of control is in quotation marks. Some problems are just too big to control. But because you're taking responsibility for it, you have no control and all of the responsibility. Now don't get me wrong, taking responsibility is the moral thing to do. But there are things that we don't need to take responsibility for because they're not our responsibility in the first place. Actually, going back to Genesis, the first sin is actually man and woman wanting to take responsibility for something that's not for them to take. Knowledge of good and evil is something only God should have because human beings cannot derive good and evil from themselves. So there's this extra layer when God says to lay down our burdens upon Him. He's not just saying, lay down all of your problems on me. He's also saying, give back the responsibility that's not yours to begin with. Ang yabang ng dating. But think of it like this. God sees that you're being burdened. And then God sees that you're carrying something that's not yours to bear, but His. So when He asks that He take it from you, it's not an insult to you. It's compassion. Because He's removing something that you're not supposed to carry. And you know what? Jesus did exactly that. He took responsibility for our sins because we couldn't do anything about it. So He bore the weight on His shoulders to pay the debt that we couldn't pay with His own life. In fact, that's what He came down for. He came down to bear the weight of the world so we don't have to carry it ourselves. He became that baby on the manger made of wood to one day carry the wooden tree for us. I guess we did end up talking about Christmas. And here's another caveat. Before He carried the weight on the world, He asked help from God. So if Jesus asked help from God, why wouldn't you ask help? You know, I just want to touch on this topic, but it's an episode for another time. God proposes to take away the burden that you're not supposed to carry. That implies that we're supposed to carry something. So when you continue reading Matthew 11, it goes on to say, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart." and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. So Jesus not only invites you to give your unnecessary burdens to Him, but when you say yes to that invitation, He gives you the proper dignity to carry the weight that you should. You know, this topic's related to the last episode because this was also a burden I was carrying at that time. When I thought the world was ending, I was anxious because I thought I was the only one who could do anything about it. But I can't. I was taking the burden for something that I don't and can't control. So these personal problems were actually weighing down on me. I was feeling more than I can bear. So it took some reminding from God to tell me that it's not my problem to worry about, but His. So what He's calling me to do now is to take responsibility for my own burdens and trust that He's gonna take responsibility for His. So will you do that? Will you let go of the weight of your shoulders? Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you have a prosperous 2021 and let's appreciate the end of 2020. Merry Christmas and God bless.